Good day, my name is Angelo. This is Nation's Voice Tower, that channel that keeps you updated on everything that has to do with politics in Nigeria and as it borders the masses. Thanks for joining us. I have a beam light showing on Rotimi Amechi, former governor of Rivers State, former minister of transport, and his wife, Miss Judith Amechi. These two people are actually parts of the governing body of the NDDC, the Niger Delta Development Commission. Even as minister, it was alleged, according to what we have here and according to this secret file, that Rotimi Amechi and his wife were involved in money laundering billions of Nigerian naira from the NDDC. Please stay tuned as I reveal the secret files of Rotimi Amechi and his wife. Even the EFCC are aware of this file, so facts are actually in the public space. According to our sources, EFCC may have already beamed their searchlight on Rotimi Amechi and his wife over massive fraud in the Niger Delta Development Commission. Concerned senior staff raised alarm over the incessant looting of this couple. That is what our expose will be based on today. We all thought Rotimi Amechi was clean, although he has a file with the EFCC, but coming to, co-opt his wife into this whole thing is something we cannot understand until we hear this. The former Minister of Transportation, Rotimi Amechi, and his wife, Judith Amechi, are the major beneficiaries of the huge financial sleaze in the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC, according to our source. And according to a petition to the President, former President Muhammadu Buhari, signed by some senior staff of the NDDC, sent to our source, they alleged that Rotimi Amechi, a former governor of Rivers State and a former minister of transport, and his wife Judith Amechi are the main receivers of massively illicit funds delivered as kickbacks by 3 different NDDC boards, which the former minister installed by himself. They accused the former minister that he had installed 3 boards of the commission through which he and his wife influenced contracts and siphoned lots of money. Our source has reported how a gang of rogue contractors in cahoots with the NDDC top officials fleeced the agency of over 750 billion naira within 3 months through awards of shady contracts. These particular contracts and their details were made public to the public space. According to sources within the commission, the 750 billion naira was shared amongst some people who are high-ranking members of the NDDC, namely Professor Nelson Brambaifa, the MD and the CEO, and then Mr. Chris Amadi, the Executive Director, Finance, and Samuel Ajogbe, the Executive Director, Projects, NDDC, and their gang. These people are all high-ranking members of the NDDC. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, began investigation into the massive fraud. The anti-graft agency, in its preliminary investigations, confirmed that funds were diverted from the NDDC account domiciled in the Central Bank of Nigeria to commercial banks. Amechi had, following the unveiling of the corruption in the NDDC, raised an alarm over plots to smear his image. But an open letter sent to our source alleged that not only are Rotimi Amechi and his wife Judith Amechi involved in the massive looting in the NDDC over the years, but they are the main receivers of these loots at the end of each board. According to the open letter, Amechi has used 3 successive NDDC boards to loot the region dry, said a former minister and a former worker with the NDDC. The former minister and his wife Judith Amechi are beneficiaries of 75 emergency roads that were overbloated and padded to the tune of 400 million each from the incompetent acting board led by Mr. Nelson Brambaifa. To this effect, there was an open letter that was sent to the former President Muhammadu Buhari during his time, or during the time which this particular case was at its peak. Till date, we've not had anything pertaining to that case, and Rotimi Amechi subsequently became a minister and is out of office. Why has this country turned to an appalling sort of circumstance where we just have lots of politicians looting public funds with little or nothing being done to them? And the long and short of everything is, the most surprising thing is, these cases are actually brought up to the anti-graft commissions, but with different overwhelming evidences. Whistleblowers call the attentions of different anti-graft agencies in Nigeria, and still nothing is done about these things. Can we say this is the high rate of impunity in Nigeria? Or can we say this is the high rate of injustice in Nigeria? Can we say this is injustice at its peak? We will continue to probe these people because we might not actually have much time left. These people in the government house right now have already engineered a sort of government that cannot or will not benefit Nigerians. So the time to take back our country is now. Let us put all hands on deck to ensure that all politicians who have criminal records are brought to book by any means you can, which are legal though. Thanks so much for joining us. I hope you enjoyed that update. Now I have something different. On the issues bordering to the oil and gas sector, it has been identified that one of the reasons why the oil and gas sector failed over time is the fact that it seems never to have been headed by a core professional in the oil industry. In recent times, maybe due to the fact that a successive government have not kind of realized the importance of the oil industry. Talking about this, I have Manga Enwenzo, a consultant geoscientist, who explained the reason why he thinks the oil and gas sector has failed to meet up to its expectations over time.
You're absolutely very correct. And I think the problem has been that successive governments have not really paid attention to they have not really realized the importance of the oil industry. So most of the time, they have not really realized the importance of the oil industry. So they downplayed. I give you an example. You go to justice, it's headed by a lawyer. You go to the health ministry, it's headed by a doctor. A core professional in the oil industry has never headed except after Dakoro. So recently, they have not headed the petroleum. So apparently, there's the petroleum industry is being run by inexperienced people, hands. And secondly,
well, I mean, the reason Nigeria isn't producing enough oil is not because it's being run by inexperienced people.
Yeah, because you see, the oil industry,
you've got leakages in the Niger Delta and underproduction and all the rest of it.
And then too, we've neglected
insecurity. That's got nothing to do with them.
Yeah, then what has happened?
Who is running the place?
It is because, you see, the investments you do matter. For example, like you see the JV, for example, what the oil we are producing now comes mainly from the production sharing contract, deep water. So, and the fiscal terms for the deep water is different. In the JV, government has 55%. But in the PSC, you barely get 30% because of the contract, the production sharing contract.
Right.
You get, so the money is doing, and then we have not invested in the oil, in the upstream sector. Those JV assets, we have spent more money in the downstream sector. And then, because the president has taken over the ministerial portfolio, you see that a group of oligarchs have taken over the industry. So what has happened now is that most of the investments are done to favor them in the downstream, neglecting the upstream sector. That is why we are having all this problem.
Yeah, speaking about that, we have Manga Enwezo, a consultant geoscientist. He's a professional in that field and he needs to speak. Okay, I think that has been one of the issues, maybe, because over time, we've just had few cases where people who are experienced and people who have a pool of knowledge in the oil and gas sector headed the NNPC or even the ministry that heads the NNPC, talking about the Ministry of Petroleum. Okay, from the last 8 years, we've seen that President Muhammadu Buhari has been the Minister of Petroleum, of which makes it very, very wrong. Reasons being that he has little or no experience in the oil and gas sector. Right now, I think Bola Ahmed Tinubu seems to also head that ministry somehow, and we tend to have challenges in such ministries because, number one, out of every other reason, corruption, impunity, and all that, one of the reasons, according to Manga Enwenzo, is that nobody that has always been a professional in that field has headed the ministry or the NNPC. Well, that is his own view, and let's hope that the government are taking all these views into cognizance. Finally, I would love to talk about the recent cash transfers that have been planned by the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's government. Okay, the federal government has vowed to transparently transfer cash gifts to families for a space of 3 months in a plea to eradicate poverty. Talking about this, Mr. Andrew Mamedu, a country director with the Action Aid, seems to be on the opinion of the federal government as he sees this to be a very, very long way and a very, very sure way to step up plans to end hardship in Nigeria. I don't know if this will work, but let us listen to Mr. Andrew Mamedu.
It would contribute to it, but it definitely will not eradicate poverty. Definitely, even the World Bank there knows that that cannot eradicate poverty. There are clear actions that you need to take to eradicate poverty, but it's just a bit of cushion. It's a social protection intervention. So we're starting, but 3 months is just. I think we can do better. So let me use positive words. So it's something we can do. We can do better. How do we extend this? So the last time we were doing 5,000 conditional cash transfer for 1 year, 2 years. Some people got that for that long, but 25,000 for a start, 75,000 in 3 months. Maybe to feed some of their family, for those 3 months. So after that, what then happens? How do we ensure that these people get into sustainable livelihood? Right. So it's beyond just giving them 5,000 to feed themselves from now. Sustainable livelihood, and of course there are clear merchants and mechanisms for getting this cash to them, even the unbanked within this system. But the question is, are we the right people in that register? Are the registers being audited, like the World Bank person said? How do we make sure that at the end of the day, the wrong persons, politicians, and all that
don't make it into the books? But quickly here, before you leave, are there challenges or bottlenecks, in trying to work with the government or other agencies to see that these people, especially the smallholder farmers, the women you spoke about, are there challenges Action Aid is going through?
Yeah, definitely. Huge challenges. So one of the greatest challenge, of course, is the issue of insecurity. So the farmers are not able to farm as at when due. Right. Of course, we have the issue of rain season farming. So the reason why there are climes where they've gone away from that. They have all year round season farming. So we're getting to the point where how do we ensure that we have the right irrigation? The Lake Chad is a very big case in point that we can help to recharge. If we recharge the Lake Chad, currently it has dropped by 90%. Lake Chad would be able to feed between 30 to 50 million persons in 4 countries. So I think those are the things that people like the World Bank should be able to focus on. How do we recharge the Lake Chad? We require between, the last time it was checked, it started with $15 billion, but right now it has gone to $50 billion to recharge the Lake Chad. But that is not too much for the international community to look at, to make sure that we have access to food and livelihood for 50 million Africans.
All right, Andrew Mamedu there. He is from the government, so I don't expect a negative reaction from him. The government has proposed to transfer 5,000 naira each sometime to lots of families for 3 months, which was debunked by the Nigerian masses. Over time, they came up with a division of palliatives that could not even serve for a hundred of people or a particular number of people. They came up with lots of palliatives that seemed to be underestimated according to the population we have in Nigeria. If you cannot make something to actually go evenly round, don't start it. That is what I will tell the government. So to this effect, I will say transferring sums of money to lots of families over 3 months may not help. I would suggest that the government should go further and subsidize the price of or the rates of, services and goods, because that is the only way the masses can really enjoy and feel the impact of the government. Transferring cash prizes or cash gifts to families over time may do little or nothing to help impoverished families, especially those who are striving to stand on their own. That is my own take on that. Thank you for joining us. I hope you enjoyed our updates. Before I say quits, I would love to urge you, please like our videos, share them. Please always drop a comment for us in the comment section. I need these comments to be more, okay? And then finally, I would say, if you're watching me for the first time, tap that subscribe button. And then also tap the notification bell so that when I drop a new update, you will be among the first people to know. See you next time. Bye.